It's my pleasure to introduce Frank Vogel, the next coach of the Phoenix Suns. After an extensive search, we settled on Frank to be our coach. And it's exciting for us today as Phoenix Suns team members because we set out a few years ago to build a foundation of excellence. We set out a few years ago to become a franchise that many would call elite. And we've taken some steps towards our goal of winning a championship. But as we look forward, we needed another leader, someone that could elevate us to the next level. And through this process, after talking to many great candidates, many amazing coaches, we settled on the guy who we think has all the qualities: leadership, honesty, integrity, championship experience, a love for the game, a passion for the community. Those are the attributes and the traits that Frank embodied. And so I'm excited. I hope you guys, and I hope everyone's as excited as I am, as we are, to call Frank the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns. So with that, I'll turn it over to Frank.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? Appreciate the great intro, James. Just want to start by thanking Matt Ishbia and James Jones for putting their trust in me to lead their franchise. I really believe in their vision and just thrilled to join forces with them. I also want to thank my family, my great wife Jen, and my daughters Alexa and Ariana over here. It is not easy to be an NBA coach's wife. It's not easy to be an NBA coach's daughter. There's a great deal of sacrifice that goes into that, and I'm endlessly thankful for your love and support. Love you guys. This is the beginning of a new era in Phoenix Suns basketball, and it's going to be an exciting one. And we are committed to bringing in championship level talent. I will be committed to bringing a championship level culture both on and off the court, a culture centered around hard work, toughness, intelligence, teamwork. And when we get out there and play, we're going to be scrappy as hell. We're going to have talent out there, but we're going to be a scrappy team that plays harder than our opponent every night. And we're going to be a team that makes this community very proud. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
Start with Wayne Rankin.
Congratulations, Frank. Welcome.
Thanks.
To Phoenix. I'm curious when you look at just what James talked about as far as what you bring, getting back into this as a coach, like obviously you had been out of it. So what was the draw here that made you say, hey, I'm coming back out and I want to coach again?
All of the above is the answer to that. Everything about this situation is attractive to me. Beginning at the top, Matt Ishbia's energy, is something that, he's a positive energy, enthusiasm type of guy, and that just aligns with who I am as a person and what I like to bring to the table. So I love what, the energy he's infused into this organization and this community. And then James, my conversations with James have really been positive. I got a great deal of respect for him, his knowledge, his experience, his selflessness. He's really committed to doing whatever the coach needs to build a championship, to build a champion. And that's all very attractive. The current roster always plays a factor in every job, but in this case, it really played a factor. I love what we can accomplish. The firepower that we have, with those two prolific, savage scorers with bookends and Chris and DeAndre at the point guard and center position, and a lot of the other pieces. I feel like we can do great things right away. And obviously, this city, this community, is a destination. It's a destination for coaches. It's a destination for players. And I feel like we're going to be able to attract some real talent and hopefully have just one hell of a run here.
About Booker and Durant, how often have you had talks with them since and even before, and just how are you feeling about those conversations you've had with those two?
Right. Well, I don't have a lot of experience prior to this this process. I did coach Devin in, I believe, his first All-Star game a couple years back. So that was fun. And you know, I had met KD a few years back at one of the other All-Star games. You know, I think when I was with the Pacers. So you know, limited experience there, but had great conversations with those guys after being hired. And you know, a lot of our beliefs are really aligned. A lot of our expectations and hopes for what we want to do to this league this year, we're all very excited about it.
Hey, Frank, Kellen Olsen, Arizona Sports. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the Valley.
Thanks, Kellen.
You're one of a handful of coaches in your first year with the team to win a championship. What can you apply from that first year with the Lakers here in Phoenix? And what did you learn from that process to instantly turn a team into a champion in your first year establishing a program?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing I can apply is direct belief. You know, because I've done it, I've been a part of it. You know, and I know that if the talent is in place, you know, that you can galvanize a group and you know, take the league by storm. And you know, we have that type of talent here. We have that type of IQ and experience and firepower. And you know, certainly we're going to build on that. But you know, the word belief, you know, having just done it is the first thing that comes to mind. You know, my process, you know, even beyond that year, over the years of 10 and a half years being a head coach and 20-something years of being in this league, you know, it just so many lessons learned over those years, so many great coaches I've learned from, so many great players I've worked with. You know, I think all of those things can be channeled into our efforts with this year's team to hopefully do something great.
Hey, Coach. Gerald Bourget, PHNX. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the Valley.
Hi, Gerald.
Obviously, you are a defensive-minded coach. You've got that acumen. You've worked with a number of elite shot blockers over the years as well. When you look at this particular roster, the way that Booker and KD on that end, and EA's tools on that end, or what excites you about this team's defensive potential?
Yeah, well, I think it starts with the big fella. You know, I've always had elite rim protectors, and you can get the job done, you know, without that. But boy, when you got a guy like that in front of the basket, you know, deterring everything that comes to the rim, you know, you just get stronger, you know, in everything, because the perimeter can push up more and be aggressive. And you know, I have a scheme that I believe is the best in the league at, you know, tailoring, you know, those strengths, you know, into the group. And you know, so I believe in that. I really love how Devin and Kevin compete on the defensive end. KD even hit me, you know, when we were talking. He says, "I can't wait to guard in your system." You know, like he wants to get after on both sides of the ball. He feels like that's you know, something that really gets him going on the other end. And I love that. Like, all our guys have to be two-way players, you know, and you know, I think those guys are going to be great.
Hey, Coach Mark McClune, 3TV CBS 5 Arizona's family right here. Welcome to town. Hey, you mentioned the scrappy mentality that you are trying to build. How do you go about blending that with elite talent and have that scrappy mentality carry over?
Yeah, I think it starts with the work. You know, when we get out there in practice and training camp, you know, I think we set the tone very early on of what's expected, of you know, really how we coach practice, how we coach our film sessions. But you know, our guys are going to hear that the number one habit that we develop all year is that we have to play harder and tougher and with more hustle than our opponents every night. Because if you develop that habit over 82 games, boy, when you get come playoff time, you know, when every team's trying to ratchet it up, like, it's already going to be there for us. You know, so it's just something. It's going to be a way of life for us. You know, from the beginning of training camp all the way into the playoffs.
Hi, Frank. Doug Howard, The Athletic.
Hi, Doug.
When you come into a situation like this with established stars, and obviously you've done that already in your career, what is the key to gaining their trust?
I just think communication is probably always the biggest key. You know, they're going to see. You know, all of my players have always seen a genuineness to partner up with them and to do everything I can to put them in position to reach their goals, both individual goals and team goals. And you know, I think those relationships, you know, are everything when you're trying to achieve what we're trying to achieve. And you know, we'll put a great deal of effort into that. And you know, I believe in where it's going to go.
Hey, Frank. Barry Bloom from Sportico. Great to see you again. Welcome.
Good to see you, Barry.
So, just piggybacking off of that question, I mean, you dealt with no bigger stars or egos in LA than LeBron and AD. How does that translate to how you're going to handle the group here, which has obviously a lot of stars and egos?
Well, I think there was lessons learned, but I think the experience of dealing with those guys in LA really gave me a PhD in the head coach star player partnership. Where we're gonna present plans to them, and we're not gonna ask them to do too much. I mean, the job is gonna be done at a high level in terms of creating up the game plans and how we're gonna play, style of play, all those types of things. But allowing them an opportunity to weigh in on what we're doing. I think those partnerships are key. I feel like I hit it out of the park with those guys in LA, and I feel like I'm going to do the same thing with these guys here.
Well, quick, what's your philosophy on talking with the players? We have a manager over here with the Diamondbacks who interfaces with his players every day. Is that your philosophy too?
I hope so. Yeah, if I'm not touching those guys, each player on my team every day, then I'm not doing my job. It's very, very important to me to understand what the pulse of our team is, right? And I always tell my assistant coaches, my trainers, I want to know what guys are feeling, when they're coming in, and if somebody's not feeling great about their role or what's happening, I want to know about it so we can address it and help those guys, because I want to build a culture where our team, our players, they're going to enjoy wanting to come to work every day, right? And I think that starts with those types of communications.
Coach, Richard Science, Fox 10 Phoenix, welcome to the Valley.
Thank you, Richard.
You kind of talked about the proof is in the pudding. You've won before, and you touched on the roster here was a big reason why you wanted to come here. You obviously know what a championship team looks like. When you look at this team, how close is this team to winning a title, and what would it mean to you to bring this franchise its first ever NBA title?
Well, I'll answer the second question first. It would mean the world to me. I know what it's like, to be a fan that wants to taste that championship, and I'm just thrilled with the opportunity, to be the coach that leads this team to its first, and in terms of how close are we, when you look at those guys that we just talked about before, we're very close. A lot of things have to go our way. You need a lot of luck, and you need some breaks along the way. But I feel like the foundation is in place, and we gotta make some moves around the edges, and we gotta put in the work. Right? It does not happen organically. A great deal of effort and sacrifice and togetherness has to be achieved for us to become a championship team. But I believe we can do it.
Hey Frank, Jordan Spurgeon, Sports 360 AZ, welcome to the Valley. You touched earlier on how you understand that this is a growing area, it's a destination city. Phoenix is a place that a lot of people want to be. What do you know about the Valley and maybe the brief stints that you've been able to stop by here? And what are some of the experiences you're looking forward to having, you and your family out here, away from basketball?
Yeah, well, my first really experience with the city was when one of my favorite players growing up, Charles Barkley, on the team I grew up rooting for, the Philadelphia 76ers, got traded out here. And, their team, our team, the Sixers, became very bad, and you guys became very good. So I really followed that team. And I love the way they were built with KJ and Marley and Dumas, Charles, Mark West, Ainge and Chambers off the bench, Oliver Miller. The coach Frank Johnson, that was a team that I think you all fell in love with, and from afar, I did as well. So that's the first time I really started thinking about Phoenix as a great basketball city. Things I'm interested in. It's a great community. Every time you come here, you walk outside, you feel the warm weather, and everything just feels better. So the weather is a factor, but it is a great sports town, and it's a place that people want to be, and we're excited to be here.
Luke Liebman with 12 Sports. Coach, welcome to the Valley. I'm curious, we touched on rim protectors earlier in this press conference. What do you see? What value do you see DeAndre Ayton bring into the team, and how do you feel like you can unlock his full potential?
Yeah, well, I think he can be one of the best centers in the league. You know, I think he's shown that at times throughout his career. You know, I know he showed it when we played him in the playoffs a couple years back, and he shot about 80% from the field, and deterred every drive, every cut, every effort to attack the basket. You know, he can be a big-time deterrent, and you know, there's still areas that he can grow offensively. But I'm intent on really connecting with him, and you know, restoring him to you know, to an all-star level player.
Dana Scott, Arizona Republic. Congratulations on getting the job, Coach.
Thanks, Dana.
Question about coaching staff and moves you made. Obviously, the news with David Fizdale coming. Obviously, you have a history with Fizdale, and when you were a player, James, also with you, Frank, as you know, having him as an assistant in LA. What is you expecting from this coaching staff, and what is the continuity that you expect for Fizdale to bring to this coaching staff?
Well, I think, you know, the first thing with Coach Fizz is, you know, the game has changed and continues to change so much, you know, over the last 5, 7, 10 years, you know, with the new style of play. Everyone talks about the modern NBA. So to have Fizz in my on my staff and in the trenches with me in LA, you know, when we were you know, trying to utilize and continue to grow and evolve the system that we use, which, by the way, is a completely different system than we used, you know, back as early as whatever 7, 8, 9 years ago in Indiana. You know, it's the evolution has been necessary, and I love the way we changed, you know, to the scheme and system to come into LA and win the championship in year 1. But the league continues to change even more since then. So I think that immediate corporate knowledge is something that really draws or makes Fizdale attractive to me. But I got great chemistry with him too. Like, we work our asses off, but we have a lot of fun in the process. And you know, I just really respect his pedigree, his championship pedigree as an assistant coach, and the fact that he's been a head coach in this league. You know, is always comforting. You know, when, you know, to have somebody like that on your staff, you know, that has been through all the decisions that go into managing this position. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, James, just curious. You obviously, when you were a player, he was a coach at Indiana, and then so you knew him in that sense. And
Good old
then,
days.
We beat him.
Right. We know that. 7-game series, but we know that.
We beat you a lot. You beat us, but we beat you up.
That is true. That is true.
So you knew, you had an idea of who he was, and then obviously, what did you learn about him during the interview process that maybe you didn't know that helped you move forward with the hire?
I mean, well, you make a bunch of assumptions when you see a team play so tough and physically and like beat you up. So I was expecting Frank to be like that. I was expecting him to be rough and tough. And but what you find is that he's extremely well balanced. And an underrated trait is he's a guy that knows how to bring the toughness out of you without barking, without screaming, without pushing. And he gets you to believe that you're tough, even if you aren't, until you actually start doing it. So those have been the conversations we've had about the approach to get the result that you want in an unconventional way. Because we all know that it's extremely difficult to do the things that we want to do. But he just has a great way about him of making it fun. Like he said, making it a joyous activity to do hard things.
Frank, Nick King back here from Channel 3, Channel 5. Welcome to the Valley.
Thank you.
Your time in the last year plus not being a head coach, what do you learn either about yourself or the game, the NBA, just kind of taking a step back?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the biggest thing more than what I learned is just the value in recovery. You know, I think when you go from one head coaching job to the next, you know, in a matter of days or weeks, you know, that can be very taxing on your body, and, you know, to be able to get away and really invest in my family for a year and recharge my batteries proves huge dividends. You know, this is what I had prior to taking over with the Lakers, and, you know, I really believe that, you know, that type of time away just recenters yourself so you can come in and just do a phenomenal job. I grew up on Eastern time zone, so living in the Pacific time zone has been awesome because the games start at 4 o'clock, and then the second round starts at 7 o'clock. So I watched 6 hours of basketball pretty much every night of the year in my sabbatical year. And I continue to study it from a different perspective and learn and grow and see how the league is changing. And hopefully we can incorporate some of those lessons.
Coach, Craig Foy, ABC 15 here in town.
Hi, Craig.
Kevin Young was a candidate for your job that you have now.
Yes.
He's staying on the staff. How do you navigate that road moving forward with Kevin? And sometimes it's not easy for two guys that are vying for the same job to end up on the same staff.
Right.
That's not typical. How do you navigate those waters now moving forward with Kevin?
Yeah, it begins with empathy, because obviously there's going to be a natural disappointment. But I know Kevin, and Kevin has incredible basketball integrity. Incredible. And, since it's been sort of announced that we're going to work together, I've had numerous people from his past reach out to me and just double down on that level of what a great guy he is and what his basketball integrity is about. And I've got a high level of respect for him. Kevin's going to be a head coach in this league very soon, and he understands that, and I think the whole league understands that. He and I also have a common thread in that we both worked or came up in some ways under my mentor, Jim O'Brien. He got to work with him in Philly for a few years. And obviously, Obi was my guy ever since I was in college, giving me life lessons and showing me the discipline required to be a great coach. And, really just how to be a great man, a great family man. So Obi and I are very close. And, the fact that, he spent time with Kevin and absolutely loves Kevin just gave me a great deal of confidence that, this is going to be a partnership that really, really works. And we're going to have some firepower, quite frankly, from a standpoint of the coaching staff.
Got a two-part question for both of you. James, how important was it to be able to retain Kevin with the way that the coaching search went? And then Frank, what do you kind of envision his role being moving forward?
Well, it was critical for us. Throughout the entire process, we've had frank discussions with Kevin around his desire to be in Phoenix. He wanted to be here. We wanted him to be here because he's a great coach and he wants to win. And so given the opportunity to stay here and continue to build with us, it was an easy decision for him. It was an easy decision for us because I know what he truly wants. Like, he's had an opportunity to see us build it, and he knows the work we have left to do, and he wants to be a part of it. And for me, that's important. Like, the desire to be a part of what we call the hardest thing we'll ever do is real for him, and he wanted to be supportive in every way. So I'm excited about having him because he knows who we are, and he knows what we're missing, and he can help coach get us to where we need to be.
For sure, and from my perspective, I am not locked in on roles for my assistants until I complete my entire staff. What I can tell you is I love what he did from an offensive coordinator type of role here in the last few years. I got a great deal of respect for his offensive mind. But when you're on the cusp of becoming a head coach, you're a great coach on both sides of the ball, right? And so I believe in what he brings to the table both ways. And when I complete my staff, we'll finalize what those roles look like.
Congratulations, Doug Franz from Doug Franz Unplugged and WTSMTV.com.
Thanks, Doug.
When James Jones introduced you, he said, we needed someone that we felt like could get us to the next level. This is a city that believes we're at the point where it's championship or failure. Do you embrace that opportunity, or is that a little unfair?
Hell yeah. I've been with teams where we're going to take the long road, and that can be fun. That journey can be fun, but I love the mindset that we're going to go after it right away with all we have. And I don't give a damn about what the outside narrative is around expectations or whatnot. I care about what our expectations are, and our expectations are to go for it this year and hopefully every year that I'm here.
James, can you take us through some of the core factors that led to dismissing Monty?
A hard decision had to be made about where do we go next, and moving forward, I just felt we needed an injection of a different voice, a different energy, and
Do you feel is going to happen with the bench developing that, just letting some guys walk and retaining some of those players?
I mean, those are roster decisions that I never talk about what we do with the roster. But I will say this: every guy on our team, they were on our team for a reason, because we believe that they're capable of getting us where we need to be. And so we'd love to have our guys back, but we know that some of our guys perform really, really well and never have opportunities where they may not be back with us. But our commitment is to fill out a team that we believe can win in the postseason. And I truly believe that last year and the year prior to that, we've had enough on our bench. We just need to find a way to build that chemistry, bring it together, and win games, because we're not that far off, despite all the outside narratives. Every single player on our team won us games and made winning plays in the postseason. We just need to collectively make a little bit more.
Last question, Eliot in the platform at the back.
Hey Frank, Eliot Gavai, Sports 360 AZ. So we've talked about how there are so many moving pieces here. Coming in, how do you go about the challenge of developing that chemistry with these guys as you get going?
Yeah, it's a time investment. You have to put in the time and try to connect with our players, our new staff, everybody that I'm going to meet because I'm new to the organization. You got to put in the time with those relationships, and on the court, off the court, every way that we can do it. We'll invest in those, because that's going to be the lifeblood of this whole thing, right? We can talk about X's and O's and making shots and playing defense and stuff like that, but if we're not building the necessary relationships along the way, then I don't think we're going to be strong enough to get over that hump and win a championship. So it's a necessary investment, and it's a time investment.